Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you live on a Tuesday. We are home from work today. I wrote the schedule and I accidentally scheduled three people at my work today. We normally always only have two unless it's like a big holiday or something like that. And I didn't want somebody else to be forced to take the day off. It was like the low man on the pole. So I decided that I would use a sick day. So I'm here on a Tuesday with nobody home. And I want to say this is like the middle of the summer, but I guess the summer just kind of began. But hey, it is what it is. They give you these days, you might as well use them. Today, we're going to be talking about the WWE Night of Champions 2025 show. I put up a video yesterday, basically when I got home from work, kind of talking about like how this show is still going to go on. It is kind of weird to think that there's like missiles being shot into the sky. I'm not the biggest news guy, but it seems that like maybe in the last 24 hours that has kind of stopped. But when it comes to like the Middle East, it is like a problem that has been going on almost pretty much my whole life, where it seems like in one way or another, even if it's different countries or whatever else, there's never really been peace over there. And it's scary to think, like I grew up going through like grade school with Operation Desert Storm. I like bought the Topps trading cards, and all that stuff. And I watched, Tom Brokaw on KCRA, Channel 3, NBC. And I don't know. These days, it seems like kind of like you can't really believe everything that's on the news, no matter what it is. There's always some sort of agenda that's being spread around. But we're going to cover WWE's Night of Champions 2025. I'm doing this kind of like as a little bit of a commercial. Last week, I did one of these because normally on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, I go live with my friend Jeremy on his channel, the Rock and Knowles channel. It's really easy to break down. It's like Metallica, rock and roll music, and Knowles, like the Seminoles. He's a big FSU fan. He recently got to go to the parade yesterday for the Florida Panthers. I don't know, with the ending of the NBA Finals being with like Indianapolis, or I guess not Indianapolis, Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder. It just made me, keep thinking and have a chance out there that my Sacramento Kings could ever win one of these. I've been a Kings fan my whole life. They've been the only basketball team that I've loved. I grew up an A's fan. I switched to being a Braves fan. I've been a 49ers fan my whole life. I've had a chance to go to a 49ers parade, I guess. But I mean, if the Kings won, I might call out of work for a week. I think that would be awesome. And for him to be able to go to the parade for his team, it would be way, way cool. But we're going to be going live tomorrow. We normally do it like about 5 o'clock my time. I like to say it. So it's like 8 o'clock on the East. If you're somewhere in the middle, you can figure that out. But I know that we're doing it. I just don't really know 100% of the time. Tomorrow is the NBA draft. That's always been a big thing that's been in my life. But the Kings don't have a first round pick unless they make some sort of a trade where like Oklahoma City, who has 4 first round picks, has mercy on us. We might not be doing anything. But I don't know. I'll tell you the truth. This is a weird time here in the summertime. We've got 2 really big matches on this Saturday show, Night of Champions 2025. We have the King of the Ring finals, Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. I believe, honestly, that this could be a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam style match. I think that this honestly could be a headliner if it wasn't for CM Punk versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. The rest of the show is good. I mean, you've got Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez, Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross, Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa, and then Asuka versus Jade Cargill. This isn't going to be the best pay-per-view of all time, but it is going to be one that's going down Saturday morning. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to watch this show live. My girlfriend made plans for us to go blueberry picking let me repeat, blueberry picking. I don't know. But this is something that she's really set on. It's gonna be me, her kids, my kids, and my kid's mom all going on this trip. So it is what it is. In the world of streaming, in the world of Peacock, Netflix, all those other ones, I do know that as long as I stay off my phone, which is going to be a problem if we're in the car for a long period of time, for me, not to know what goes on. But the second I walk into the house, I can fire up Peacock and basically start the show like it's brand new. I won't be able to like kind of talk live on Twitter, which is probably the one fun thing about watching wrestling that there is out there, is to get everybody's opinions and like see everybody's reactions as it's going down. But one pay-per-view out of the year isn't bad. I didn't watch every pay-per-view last year. I don't even remember them going to Saudi Arabia last year. I do remember on SmackDown when the Bloodline won the tag team titles, but I don't even really know if any pay-per-view where they've gone to Saudi Arabia has ever been a really, really big show. I fell for the hype of the world's greatest Royal Rumble that Braun Strowman won a championship, and then we never saw it again. They did Crown Jewel last year with Gunther versus Cody Rhodes. Cody won a championship, probably one of the most expensive championships that you'll ever see. The people over in Saudi Arabia paid for it, and they're not even doing Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia this year. So we don't even know if we're going to see that championship again. I think it just lives in that WWE World exhibit that they opened last year. I don't even know if that's still around, if they have just some sort of a Las Vegas or Pigeon Forge style like WWE exhibit that's open 24/7, 365, kind of like what we thought we were going to get in Orlando about 10 years ago when they were going to build something on the Orlando City Walk, and they were actually going to have a physical Hall of Fame as well as like a WWE style restaurant. And that rumor ended up being debunked. And since then, we really haven't heard anything. I think that it would be awesome if WWE opened some sort of a real WWE Hall of Fame exhibit, even if like they had to lease out their name to a private company who would own like a WWE style restaurant. I think everybody out there in the world of wrestling fans would want to go to WWE The World when it was in New York, when it was in Times Square. I've never been there. I know that there's a lot of choices up and down, New York City. But I think that even if it was just for one meal, I was always a fan of going to like the Hard Rock Cafe in Atlanta every time we drove into the city when I was a kid. And just recently, I talked about that with my mom. She travels a lot and she goes places. And I asked her, like, are Hard Rock Cafes even a thing? It seems like they just own casinos now. Like you used to think of like going to the restaurant, getting a hamburger, seeing all the, kind of like Hall of Fame like stuff up on the wall. You see like AC/DC's guitar or something like that. And she just blasted it, basically saying how much the Hard Rock Cafe sucked. And she hated going there, but she knew that I loved it. If they got somebody to like rent the name, I could see TKO doing something like that. Even as you see with like WWE Shop and the World of Fanatics, like even if the restaurant sucked and they're still making their money, I don't think they're honestly really going to care. But when it comes down to it, let's get down to this Night of Champions pay-per-view. Last time my stream honestly went like an hour and 45 minutes. I don't really want to go all that long. And with the information that I have, it doesn't look like I'm going to be talking about this for honestly really that long. But I thought it was really cool to be able to come on here, go live, basically be able to run down all of the matches. Then I can honestly use YouTube to download the stream, and then I can just kind of cut the clips up, which was like really, really easy to do last week with the stuff talking about the SmackDown matches, as well as the Gunther versus Goldberg match that will be coming up. That seems like a match that would be on this show. I know that when they started going to Saudi Arabia, they always like to use like the legends on there because the Saudi Arabian people were asking for all these names out there. But they've got these Saturday night main event shows. They need main events, and that's a good one, honestly, in my opinion. If this is it for Goldberg, if it is going to be his last match, I'll even give him this. If that match ends screwy and they do it at SummerSlam, again, I'm fine. But I don't want to see a Goldberg match next year or the next year. The dude's 59 years old. Even in like 2 to 5 minute matches, I don't really know what we're going to get. But when it comes down to it, like I said earlier, this isn't going to be the greatest show of all time. If this is a pay-per-view that honestly you miss, I think it's got 2 matches that you catch up on before Monday Night Raw on Monday, and I think you know everything that's going on in WWE. Nothing that goes on here is going to be pay-per-view worthy. It's a shame that the Dom versus AJ Styles match is not going to happen for the Intercontinental Championship. I like the line that AJ Styles used, asking if Dom had strained his mustache and why he was ducking this fight. If Liv Morgan is the one that is injured, why is Dom saying that he's not going to be able to do this? He's only, battling off a broken heart. My thing with seeing what happened with Judgment Day inside of the locker room, I think that this match really wasn't about Dom versus AJ Styles. I think it had to do with Liv Morgan, as well as Roxanne Perez. Probably was going to be Liv Morgan being out ringside during this match. Liv was trying everything she could to pull Dom out. And it was probably going to end up being some sort of Roxanne Perez deal where she was the one that pulled Dom out. Dom kind of looks at her almost like she's some sort of a little sister. He's a smart enough man to know that he doesn't want to be anywhere around Roxanne Perez, because Liv Morgan is honestly always watching, looking over her shoulder, and he doesn't want to be the one in the doghouse. It's good that they've dropped the gimmick of Roxanne Perez with the chicken nuggets that she was calling tendies. I still don't understand that, why they did that 2 weeks in a row, why they couldn't send anybody out or use DoorDash even at least to pick up some real chicken tenders from any style of restaurant, or even if you hit the grocery store up and you got the Foster Farm chicken tenders and just broke the bag open. You didn't even need to cook them. Like out of the bag, they looked like better tenders than whatever they were using. I don't even think that was McDonald's brand. I think that Burger King has some of the worst nuggets in the world, and they weren't even Burger King nuggets. But as much as I love AJ Styles, I think Dom was going to win that match one way or another. Where they're going with AJ, he said it himself. He thinks that he's kind of winding it down. He doesn't even know if there's going to be another contract offer from WWE. He likes wrestling. He's going to do it as long as he can. They pay him really, really well for him. I could see AJ, once his contract's up, basically being a guy that does the random independent shows, as well as do some of like the signings around the world. But that guy's got a lot of kids. He loves his family. I think we're seeing the end of AJ Styles in WWE sooner than later. They know it. They're kind of wrapping him up. I don't think we're going to get one more big run from him, although it would be cool to see like if AJ wound up with the Intercontinental Championship and he became like the worker bee for WWE, and he almost brought back the John Cena or Daniel Bryan Open Challenge for SmackDowns and Raws, where you brought back the big names or people that were on the roster not really being used. That's kind of like what Cena did with like having matches against guys like Ryder, guys like Cesaro, people that weren't in storylines and weren't on the show, but they were able to go out there and have a main event style match against the John Cena to catch the eye of the writers. Like, hey, why are you not using this guy? And I think that would be awesome for AJ just to be able to go out like that way. So that match is not happening. It's scrapped. I apologize, but it ain't on me. They say they're going to do it sooner than later. It might just be some sort of a Monday Night Raw match. But the Judgment Day, it looked like they're already kind of like changing the direction that they're going in. So by the time we get there, it might not even be the match that we thought we were going to get. What we are getting from the Judgment Day is Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez in a street fight. We know with them going over to Saudi Arabia, they are going to have to be wearing the Go-Go Power Ranger outfits out there. But I really don't know. They were in the back with Finn Balor, and Finn Balor was kind of hyping up Raquel Rodriguez because of the fact she was like kind of like acting like she turned into Sour Boy for a minute, I guess you can say, and she just was not going down with anything that was in there. If you don't want to be hanging out with the Judgment Day, why are you basically hanging out in their clubhouse? You should just hit the bricks and find out what's going on with those tag titles in your own locker room or something like that. I don't know, but Finn hyped her up, basically saying that she needs to be the enforcer of the Judgment Day, and she shouldn't be letting people like Rhea Ripley take her down. At the same time, he was trying to hype her up. He honestly was kind of hitting her with like a backhand compliment because it was Rhea Ripley that cost her from moving on in the Queen of the Ring tournament. These are kind of both of like the biggest dogs in the pack. The fact that they would put them out there for a street fight, more than likely it's going to end in some sort of like a set fall down on top of somebody to keep somebody down. I think that Rhea Ripley is going to be the one who gets the win here with Evolution coming up. Rhea Ripley, even though she's not in the championship hunt as of right now, Io Sky has the Raw belt. Tiffany Stratton has the SmackDown belt. And even, with Tiffany there, you got to be looking in the back hairs for Naomi running around with the Money in the Bank. She could be going anywhere. But with Evolution 2 coming up in July, Rhea Ripley probably has to be looked at as like a big star. I wouldn't be surprised if she's getting the actual main event championship shot against Io. So Rhea, I got getting the win here against Raquel. I think it's going to be a lot like I don't remember what show it was, but Jericho and Kane had a last man standing where they fought up the ramp, and near like the set was like a whole bunch of like barrels that were set up, and Jericho pushed the barrels over, and they all fell on Kane, and he lost the match because he couldn't answer the 10 count. But as soon as like they rang the bell and said Jericho won, you saw the hand emerge from the barrels. Like, hey, I ain't dead. You might have beat me, but we still got work to do here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is going down there. The next match is going to be Sami Zayn going up against Karrion Kross. Since WrestleMania, Karrion Kross has been like the fans' favorite in WWE. I know that he wrote a book. The book is getting published. It's up for pre-order right now. He announced that he is starting a podcast. I don't know if he's done any episodes of his show or not. The one thing that I did see was his YouTube documentary about the weekend of WrestleMania, where he was fighting in the the GCW style. Oh, Bloodsport. He was fighting a guy. He wrestles West Coast independent shows. And I don't even know if Bloodsport is real or if it is just wrestling without the ring, and you kind of like taking each other down, like kind of like mixed martial arts style. I've never been to a Bloodsport show. I did see Moxley's match when they were in Orlando, so it's been a few years since I've seen it, but every year when people are talking about WrestleMania, that's one of the hottest independent matches that a lot of people want to go see that sells out fast. But he wrestled against AJ Styles on the Go Home Monday Night Raw, and I'm pretty sure other than like showing up in backstage sort of interactions, this is Karrion Kross's first match since being there. He's wrestled on like WWE Main Event in matches that really don't matter. When he won, I believe last week, he carried out Scarlett like Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth. And people honestly thought that was Karrion Kross's way of saying that he was done in WWE, and that was like his, see you later. His contract comes up this summer. Nobody really knows, what is going on there. There's a lot of fans out there. They've released 2 shirts for Karrion Kross that have sold. They haven't sold in like the R-Truth style where he's like cracked the top 10 or anything like that. But I think they're just trying to find out how big of a star and how much these people really want to see Karrion Kross. I thought this match was going to happen Monday because it was on the previous Raw that Karrion Kross was messing with Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn ended it basically by saying, like, I've had enough of you. This has been going on, for long enough. He said he was going to the general manager, Adam Pearce, and he was asking for a match. That's why I was thinking that the match was going to go down on Raw. But, when he went in there and he asked for the match, if he was still going up against Randy Orton that night on Raw in the King of the Ring tournament, why would he ask for a match on Night of Champions? I'm not 100% sure if he got pushed in Night of Champions because he needed one more match to kind of fill out the card, or that was always kind of the plan that was going along from there. In my dreams, honestly, I hope that Karrion Kross gets the win. But I got to be looking for Sami Zayn to get the win here. The one thing you always got to be thinking is, like, every time Karrion Kross starts, messing with somebody, getting in their ears. It didn't work for AJ Styles, but basically it was a lot like when people used to mess with the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. As soon as their feud was over, that person was turned. I'm still waiting for Sami Zayn to turn. I look at Sami Zayn on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. Every time I've seen him since the Raw after WrestleMania, that Sami Zayn is a heel. That is just the way I see him. It just hasn't happened yet. It hasn't clicked where Sami's made the turn. But that's what I'm waiting for. So I think that Sami has to get the win here against Karrion Kross. I hope it is a really good match along the lines of AJ Styles. I don't want Karrion Kross just to be the guy that puts people over. But when you're thinking like they got to use this guy, we're seeing people on Monday Night Raw since they've gone to the 2.5 hour mark that we don't see anymore. The guy that used to be hanging out with Gunther, he was like a good mid card kind of guy that seemed like he'd be in the hunt for the Intercontinental Championship. He was fighting with Penta. He was even fighting with Pete Dunne. He popped up on Raw last night in the background, just kind of like watching somebody get beat up. And, people make jokes that maybe he is, Gable's, luchador kind of person. Because ever since we've seen Americano, we haven't seen that dude hanging around. Why can't I think of that dude's name? Now I'm really, really embarrassed about that. But for Kross to get time on WWE Monday Night Raw, who's he going to take it from? That's the one thing I'm thinking of. But Sami's getting the win there. From there, we'll go to a match that I'm really pumped for. We're going to be seeing Jacob Fatu take on Solo Sikoa for the United States title. That bloodline is never going to end. I mean, people were making a rumor about it of this bloodline storyline could run for 2 more years and take over WWE. And I think that even though Jacob Fatu is broken off from Solo Sikoa, I think there's more to come. On Main Event, Hikuleo had his first televised match. I haven't even seen the guy or heard of him in NXT since signing with them almost about a year ago. I don't know if that was just kind of keep the people guessing and keep the rumors out there. But you got to be thinking that Solo Sikoa, he's got Jeff Cobb behind him. He's not going to let that well run dry. He knows that he needs people working for him. He lost Jacob Fatu, who was supposed to be his true muscle, but he became bigger star than Solo. Won the United States Championship. And even since Solo has won the U.S. title, we've seen Solo kind of not coming out and saying that he needs a U.S. title shot, that he deserves to be going up against Jacob Fatu. But during his promos, the way that he says things and the way that he takes breaks, He came in on SmackDown one time, and basically as he was like making his way towards the ring, everybody was in there fighting about who was going to get the United States title shot. He was kind of saying the only person that deserves the United States title shot, and then, like, he kind of paused, like the people were going to cheer for him or something like that. But I think it was just kind of like to put the thought in our heads that this guy thinks that he's better than Jacob. He thinks that he put Jacob on the map. And I think in the long run, it's going to get hurt. So I hate to see that the bloodline is in peril right now. But, for Jacob Fatu to come into WWE within 1 year, win the United States Championship, I think that they really have huge hopes for him, becoming the main guy, for his whole story. I love that dude, and I'm rooting for him to go the whole way. I got Jacob beating Solo, but I do like the Solo character. At Money in the Bank, you really could see Solo wasn't the, like, I'm not scared of you heel, or like he feels that he can win any fight. He's using his facial features a lot more, selling things, like, oh, no, like, I don't know how to put that into words, but the character is turning a little bit. And I think, honestly, if he puts a little bit more cartoonish into his heel, I think that, honestly, he could be a bigger name. We didn't see him wrestle in WWE for a long time. He's getting back in there against Jacob. I got Jacob Fatu getting the win here, but I think that Solo is going to be adding some more fuel to this fire, more than likely adding somebody into his corner other than Jeff Cobb, trying to make the numbers in his corner, but Jacob's going to pull it out. I don't think this is the end of the war. We've got a lot of shows coming up. We've got SummerSlam. We've got the Clash in Paris coming up. So I don't think that this is going to be the end of that. From there, we're going to move on to the Queen of the Ring finals. It's going to be Asuka going up against Jade Cargill. This has been a fun Queen of the Ring. The way that they've done it with the qualifiers, with the triple threat, and then having like the really big match. Asuka had to go up against Alexa Bliss. That's like two former champions going at it. Jade Cargill went up against Roxanne Perez. That's two like stars of the future. This is going to be a hard one to pick. Asuka came back from the knee injury, and a lot of people think that like she's just, gunned right up to straight to the main event. But I got to go with my first thought from the very beginning. I think this tournament was made for Jade Cargill. I honestly really believe that she's going to be your Queen of the Ring. And even though the title shot is for SummerSlam, we got a lot of shows between SummerSlam and now. I think that title hunt on the SmackDown brand could change 1,000 ways. You've got on SmackDown, you've got Nia Jax going up against Tiffany Stratton in the last women standing match for the championship, especially with the fact that it being the last women standing match with all the weapons or anything else that they could be using. You got to be thinking that Naomi is going to be sitting at Gorilla with that briefcase ready to run out. And a Jade Cargill versus Naomi match come SummerSlam would be awesome, let alone Bianca Belair, however the hell she figures into this whole thing. We'll have to see. The comments kind of distract me. I'm not telling you not to do them, but and Sam, I see ya. What's going on? I don't know how to make them pop up on the screen, but last time I had to press a different button for the comments to come up, so they weren't there. So that's the only thing that honestly distracts me a little bit. But I'm here for you. But Asuka and Jade Cargill, if Asuka wins, she goes up against Io Sky. They were already looking at each other in the back. I don't know. I just honestly think Jade Cargill is going to be the one who gets the win here. But in the long run, I think it's going to be a really, really good match. I think that Jade's, been in WWE for a while now. She came back from her injury, which was a little bit of a setback. I think she was going to be a bigger part of WrestleMania 41, possibly having some sort of a title match, but having that storyline with Naomi being the one that injured her and giving us something to kind of like talk about and look at SmackDown and kind of like be looking in the background, kind of looking for hints and things like that was a really good storyline to keep her in her mind the whole time that it was going down. From there, we're going to look at the King of the Ring finals. Cody Rhodes going up against Randy Orton. Being a longtime wrestling fan, Legacy was huge when they sort of came up. I will honestly tell you that Legacy was around when I went to one of the first shows I went to in a long time. I remember that I went and saw the Royal Rumble 2002 when I lived. No, that was at 2000. Yeah, Royal Rumble 2002. That was the last show that I saw in Atlanta before I moved here to Sacramento. And then I ended up winning SmackDown tickets, and I went and saw a SmackDown house show. I don't know what year that was in, but I can tell you, like, the main event, it was a four-way. I think it was Batista, Finlay, Booker T. I can't really remember who else was out there. So I don't know if that puts us in like 2005, 2006, 7, somewhere around there. But I do remember that when Twitter was really starting to become a thing, I won tickets from the Arco Arena Twitter. It was really easy because there was not a ton of people on Twitter in 2009. When they had, a concert, whenever they had, a wrestling event, when they had the circus, they had like a Friday trivia question where they would have like 5 different questions. They would give away 5 different sets of tickets. And it was kind of easy to win. That's how I got tickets to go to the Bash 09. The seats weren't spectacular, but for not having to pay for anything other than to park my car, I remember me, Peyton, and Peyton's mom went to the show. And that was her first wrestling show. She was so small, there's no way in the world she remembers anything, and Audrey wasn't even thought about at the time. But that main event came down to Triple H and Randy Orton. I think it was like a 3 stages of hell match or something like that, and the last match was a stretcher match, if I remember. And the whole time it was all led around whether Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase had turned on Orton and they weren't going to be there with them anymore. And in the end, when it looked like Triple H was going to win, it was Ted DiBiase came out to sort of show his alliance to Randy Orton. But for, I want to say, a good year from whenever they started until WrestleMania 26, when Legacy imploded. They were the group that I loved to hate. I almost hate watched Raw and SmackDown during the time because I just wanted to be there when Orton lost. I just hated to see him win. It seemed like every pay-per-view was heat where it seemed like he cheated to overcome the odds. And it sucked. That's the God honest way to put it. So to see, I can't even think of a Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton match somewhere in the ways, even when it was like Dashing Cody or if it was Stardust. I just really can't think of them ever getting into the ring. And I'm surprised, like, when Cody Rhodes wrote that list when he got released by WWE, he finally left, that Orton wasn't on there because of how much Orton meant. But then again, like, he didn't write Cena on there. But I can't remember if he wrote like his goals of the summer, his goals of the year, or the goals for the rest of his career. Hey, get down. Sorry, my dog jumped up and he's sitting on the laundry that I need to fold that I should be doing instead of doing this. But that's just the one thing that I think about. These guys, they probably mean so much to each other. And Randy looks at Cody I think he probably looks at him as like it's a star that he helped create. That when it's all said and done for Randy, who kind of seems like in the new TKO where they kind of help guys prolong their career, where he can show up and he can work like 2 or 3 months, and then he can basically have 2 or 3 months off and then basically come back. Um, when it's all said and done, he can look at that's one of the things that he helped create, almost like Triple H and Ric Flair helped create him and Batista in there. This is a hard one to pick. Randy had a really good match at Backlash against John Cena for the championship. The only reason why he didn't do it was because of the interference from R-Truth. And that was when people didn't really know where Cody Rhodes was. Cody disappeared after WrestleMania 41. We never really got an answer to where he went, why he went. Was he mad at us? Was he mad at himself? Was he mad at John? But Cody deserves a shot. And one way or another, the shot's going to happen at SummerSlam. I think that Cody has to win this match. I want to see Cody go up against John Cena at SummerSlam. I don't really want Cody to win. I think it'll be better the longer that they push it on down the road. I think that's the best case scenario, though, is SummerSlam, Cody versus John, and just like all of the Brock versus Roman matches, where just Brock beat him and Brock beat him. I think Cena beats him again, almost in the same fashion, where he just hits him with the championship. He clonked R-Truth, he clocked Punk, he clocked Cody. I mean, everybody he beats, he just beats him the same exact way. Speaking of Roman, I really thought that we were going to get Roman at Money in the Bank, doing some sort of a run-in there. The way WWE does it now is like there's not the big pay-per-view bonuses, like when they put on a big show. So going to the Saudi Arabia show, which is put on almost like a WrestleMania, there's no big bonus into it. It's kind of already built into their contracts. I really don't know if WWE would send Roman to Saudi Arabia just to have some sort of an appearance during this show, whether if it is in the John Cena versus Punk match in the long run. But I don't even know if they want Roman and Cena in the same place at the same time. I don't know if that's a match that WWE has on their list. It wasn't one when I drew up my John Cena dream list. I know that they had a match in 2016. Was it Backlash? I know it was in Los Angeles at the Staples Center. I was close to going, but I didn't pull the trigger. And then they had the match at SummerSlam when Cena made his return at the end of Money in the Bank. That was a surprise that set up the next one. But I don't know. I just don't see Roman coming back at the show and fitting in. I would dream for Roman to figure in his whole thing when he left after WrestleMania 41. I understand that he lost the match. I understand that Paul Heyman turned against him, but we could be seeing something with Roman and Seth, as well as Paul Heyman, as getting some sort of an answer why that happened. It has to happen somewhere before SummerSlam. I have no doubt in my mind that Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman in the corner has to be on the SummerSlam show, but I don't see it happening here. I could see maybe if Seth tries to cash in during Cena versus Punk, maybe Roman comes down to stop him, basically by saying, like, you already stole Paul Heyman, you're not going to steal this championship. But I think that if Roman was to let a Seth cash in happen, I think that honestly, he would be first in line because of what happened at WrestleMania to be in that championship shot. I know that, Punk had Heyman in his corner when he turned him against him, but Punk was only having him as the favor from the War Games show the year before. for filling in and helping out the bloodline win that one. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I see that, but I don't see Roman showing up during this one. That's the only way that I really could get into it. But big main event here. Seems like I've already talked about this one a lot. John Cena versus CM Punk. When Cena said that he was coming back, it was the first match that I put on my list that I wanted to see. I put it before John Cena versus Cody. I put it before John Cena versus Randy Orton. If you were watching wrestling in 2011, I know that Punk and Cena had other matches. They had the Night of Champions match that's honestly really good. The SummerSlam match is kind of forgotten after the Money in the Bank match because of the Alberto Del Rio cash in. And then the other one that was broken up by the Nexus. The one that's probably the best was on Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania 29 when Punk was trying to steal Cena's Royal Rumble win. And they had a match basically saying that Punk said he wanted to go after Rock in the championship because he had already had the match at the Royal Rumble and then he had the match at Night of Champions. That's probably the best match that they've had, but because it was on Raw with commercials, it's kind of forgotten about. But Money in the Bank 2011 was just a special time in wrestling, and people won't really like to admit this part. Punk, in almost like the 6 months before Money in the Bank, was almost like the most forgotten guy in WWE. Why they pushed him as a main eventer, I've got no clue. Because honestly, if you go back to the pay-per-views before, I can't remember the last win that CM Punk got in a major style match. And then all of a sudden, he just was the main event guy for Money in the Bank 2011. Then the storyline rolls out that his contract is ending and he's not going to re-sign. People thought that maybe it was just WWE's way of trying to keep him in the company because they didn't want to lose him to TNA or maybe even go back to Ring of Honor at the time. 2011, I don't think there was any other game in town other than just going out there and just straight working the indies. But then if you listen to Punk at the time, he didn't even seem like he liked wrestling at all. But when it finally came to be, whether it was because of the pipe bomb on Monday Night Raw, I think a lot of it had to do with just kind of the viral stuff that they were using because of Twitter at the time, and CM Punk being able to use Twitter as a weapon almost against WWE and Triple H as well as John Cena. One of the best things they ever did was the video. I remember that's even after he won. When CM Punk showed up at Comic-Con, and it just was put up on some random YouTube channel. It wasn't like CM Punk's YouTube channel because I don't think he had one. It wasn't the WWE YouTube. It was almost like, I don't think they used a fan account. They must have just launched like an open brand new account or something like that. But they followed Punk in the hallway as he went into the Mattel talk that they were having, like the Mattel room, and Triple H was up on the stage and Punk showed him the championship and like saying that he wanted to fight. You know, he had something that Triple H wanted. It just made wrestling special. And I think that's the one connection that a lot of people have to it. And then with it ending in the surprise fashion of like, Cena's in the ring, he can't get the job done. You've got John Laurinaitis as well as Vince McMahon running around the ring, trying to set up any situation they can to keep their WWE champion in WWE, not letting him, run out the front doors, being able to get the pin, jump the guardrail, and then basically just run out the front door. Was just awesome. It was just really, really cool. And then especially like Colt Cabana sitting in the front row, being there at the time, and kind of like he doesn't work there, blah, blah, blah kind of thing. But I just don't think this match is going to be special. I don't think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be fun. Punk and Cena have had a lot of fun kind of drawing like nostalgia into this with the whole, we're just going to do the pipe bomb 14 years later. kind of deal. So I don't know if they have a style of match that they might try to redo. My buddy Zach, I've noticed that he's been rewatching the Cena versus Punks and like putting up a review on Twitter, almost because like the YouTube days have died, I guess. But I wish that he made YouTube videos talking about them. But it seems like every day he's dropping one of those on Twitter with his thoughts on the style of match. But to me, honestly, the match is going to end with Cena hitting Punk with the championship. Right upside the head. It's going to knock him out, and he's going to pin him 1, 2, 3. People say that they don't like the style of John Cena, but with WWE these days, they tell you what they're going to do, and then they go out and they do it. He's done it time after time after time, and I think he's just going to keep doing it until somebody finally is able to overcome the odds. I think Cena's going to hold this championship all the way until the last show that he's going to be there. Whether if it's going to be that show in Boston where they're running, like, I think they're calling it Ruthless Aggression or something like that. But we'll have to see. He's only got, I don't even know how many days it is. I can't remember the last time he's counted him down, but I think it's going to be over, sooner than later. Cena's going to get the win. If you look over at SmackDown, that's going to be going down on Friday. Street Profits versus the Wyatt Six. You've got Nia Jax against Tiffany Stratton in the last women's standing match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And then the United States Women's Championship, you got Selena Vega going up against Julia. I'll tell you the truth. I watched SmackDown last week because I thought it was going to be a super show. People say that this show is going to be really big as well because of the fact that it's almost set up in the pay-per-view arena from Riyadh over there in Saudi Arabia. But I can't even think of a Wyatt Six match ever. I was begging for them to come back. It seemed like they were going to be part of the whole Alexa Bliss thing. Something happened before WrestleMania. I know that they made their return. I didn't know that they're already getting a title shot. Yeah, I would think to pick them, but I'm not 100% sure. But the Nia versus Tiffany match seems like it's you're sniffing something with like Naomi almost being in the background, but I wouldn't be surprised that Tiffany walks out the winner. And then Vega versus Julia, I got nothing. I remember seeing the match where Vega won the United States Championship. I remember seeing the match where Vega defended and beat Chelsea Green on Saturday night's main event. But Julia, I saw her wrestle on a couple tag matches with Roxanne Perez when she was making her debut. I don't really know. I know my friend Mike really loves her. He thinks that she's one of the best wrestlers in the world. So Julia to get the win there. But I mean, that's really almost everything I got in about 48 minutes. So less than an hour. Pretty good. I think I didn't do it later. I did this it's 11:03 a.m. Pacific time. So that's on me. I didn't get many comments in here, but the comments kind of messed me up. So one day we'll do like I did a call-in show one time way back in the days of blog TV using Skype. That was honestly a lot of fun. I don't know if there's ways that you can like drop your StreamYard link out there and have people use that to come in, but that might be a fun thing to do one day where it's just random drop-ins. When I was young, that was kind of my dream to be on sports radio. And then I never did anything with it when I got older. It was like my dream, and then it just kind of died. But I don't know. I think my voice is kind of weird. Not everybody loves their voice. I'm sure there's people even on radio that don't like it, but I think that's probably the one thing that would stop me more than anything else is that people probably wouldn't want to listen to me on their morning drive yelling about the Braves or anything like that. So thank you guys. I'm going to put this up as a stream once it's over. I think YouTube posts it. Last week, honestly, because I don't know how to watch like past streams. I just downloaded it and then re-uploaded it. So if you watched it that way, I appreciate you, and we'll see what's going on with that. But once this is done, I'm just gonna be clipping it up and putting it up as single videos just for the matches, I guess. So thank you guys. I'm gonna get back to watching the Yak, which started an hour ago, and I didn't open it because I never stopped talking. I was yapping the whole time. But this Pina Colada Rockstar, boom, going down the tubes. See you guys.